Alright, this video is for those of you who have tried to retrieve your stuck disc in the PS3's Blu-ray player by taking it apart and physically removing it. I do not recommend doing it this way unless you absolutely have to. I highly recommend just doing a reflow, getting the system up and running again, and at that point you can eject the disc properly. But if your system's just dead and you can't do anything about it, or if you're going to buy a new PS3 and you're not concerned about it but you want to get your disc out, this is the proper way to do it. Alright, once we already have our drive out, you want to flip it upside down and you'll see a total of 5 screws that need to be removed. These are fairly small screws and will require a fairly small screwdriver. Once those 5 screws are removed, flip it over, lift from the back, and it will slide forward. Now this is what holds the disc in. It will usually just pop out of place. It just sits in there freely. What you want to do is tilt it on the side. There's a piece of tape here. You want to remove that tape. And you want to unplug this wire. Be very careful though. That's a very small wire and you could pull the traces out. Then once you do that, there are a total of 5 screws that need to be removed. There's a screw in the center, back here towards the back, and there are 2 on each side. Once those screws are removed, you just simply lift the top off and you'll hear a bunch of springs pull these plastic arms back. At this point, you remove your disc. It's my avatar disc. And now if you simply put your drive back together like this, it's not going to work because these little arms, they ride in these grooves here, these particular tracks, and they won't line up properly if you remove the disc the way we're doing it today, because the system thinks there's still a disc in there. There's a pretty simple way to correct that problem. You simply grab these 2 tracks right here and slide them, and you'll see those flip back. Now the drive is in a state where it's ready to accept a disc. After you do that, simply pop the top cover back on. Replace the screws. Go ahead and set this back on top. Like I say, it just sits there. There's nothing else that holds it in. Plug this wire back in. Make sure it is plugged in all the way. Put the piece of tape back on. That just keeps that wire secure so it doesn't get caught whenever you put the top plate back on. And then you slide it on front first, like so. And the reason you have to slide it on front first because there's a lip here. And we put these screws back in. Try to lay these out in a fashion that you can get them back the way that they were, because a couple of these screws are different from the rest. And that's it, you're finished. Now I know a lot of people are going to say, but Djwhetzel, you don't have to do that. All you have to do is flip the switch, press the eject button, and I'm not sure what the process is, but there's a way you can get force your disk out of the newer systems. But on the 60 gig, the 20 gig, and I think, don't quote me on this, but I think the earlier 80 gig models with the 4 USB ports and backwards compatibility, that trick will not work on these. You physically have to remove it or get the system up and running again. But hopefully this will help some people out and answer any questions you may have had regarding this. And be extra careful with those ribbon cables, because if you break those clasps that hold the ribbon cable in place, this drive's never going to work again. I haven't found a way to repair them myself without physically replacing the plastic clasp. The only possible solution is to shove something small like a piece of paper or cardboard underneath of it, because that lock, what it does, it puts pressure on those contacts and it actually makes it make contact with the board. And if you don't get that working, then, or if you don't make good contact, then the drive's not going to work again. But hopefully this will help some people out, and good luck. Thanks for watching.